What's going on, y'all? It's Derek J407, aka Best Heel Ever, back from a very long week, going a bunch of places, traveling a bunch of places from my job. I managed to go to Bowling Green, Ohio, and picked up a nice little sweatshirt from Bowling Green. They were nice enough to give me one. Went there for a little bit of business. Got to speak with some really cool people, fresh out of college, and the first college I formally speak at, is Bowling Green, which is just a few hours from my alma mater at this point, where I graduated from, which is OSU. And I know many people I know from OSU would not want to see me wearing a Bowling Green shirt, but then, the real ones that matter won't give a shit. But anyway, you're not here to hear about that. You're here to hear about the new episode of Lucha Underground. It is episode 5 now. So this episode, it was a good show. It honestly wasn't my favorite show this week. I think Raw kind of was pretty much better. I get in this period of time of Lucha Underground, it was kind of the same last year. I didn't watch any of it, really, except for a few occasions. But really, this time of the year, WrestleMania season, my mind's not going to be that much into Lucha Underground, I can tell you that much. But this was still a damn good show. They kicked off showing Pentagon Jr. hearing stuff from his master. I assume it was his master, because they were showing flashbacks of, the stuff with him and Vampiro and all that kind of stuff. So someone was talking to him and, telling him, he got to get what he wants and he can't let anyone stand in his way. And they showed Katrina. So that played into a later segment in the show. But the first official match of the show was Jack Evans. He was already in the ring. He took the mic from Maria Santos and did his own introduction. And out came his opponent, the Darewolf, PJ Black. So this is only PJ Black's second match on Lucha Underground. Boy, Jack Evans, he's one hell of a bump taker, ain't he? He just flips and does twirls and corkscrews and all that kind of shit when he is taking moves from people. It's very entertaining to watch. But, and he's a cocky son of a bitch, too. At one point, towards the end of the match, Drago came out. He was up in, one of the stands and stuff like that. Jack, he threw something at him. I forgot what it was. But yeah, eventually Drago, he made his way more towards the ring. The referee, I don't know if he was distracted. He wasn't really distracted because nobody else was out there, but he kind of got, he was looking away, and Drago was going to spray green mist in Jack Evans' eyes, but he got it in PJ Black's eyes instead. So Jack rolled him up into this really creative counter, this roll-up, and got the victory. He escaped. And after the match, PJ Black looked devastated. Of course he looks devastated. He's already on a losing streak. He's had 2 matches in Lucha Underground so far, and he lost both of them. One of them was to the Mac. The Mac. Come on. But it was still a good match, nonetheless. Up next, we had King Cuerno versus Killshot. Killshot is, he's kind of amazing. King Cuerno is too, don't get me wrong. But Killshot, he's pretty damn good. So a lot of good high spots from Killshot in this match. All the super kicks sounded like gunshots in this match. I'm sure, they sound a little over dramatic every week, but this week they sounded like just something completely different. They sounded like actual gunshots going off in a microphone or some shit like that. But in the end, Cuerno hit the thrill of the hunt and beat Killshot. After the match, he started stomping on him some more, and then out came, he was about to give him the pile driver, but then Phoenix came out there and prevented that from happening. Cuerno just ran off instantly. He didn't run off, but he got out of the ring quickly, got his Get to the Gods title, and left. That was the last we see of him for until the end of the show. We'll get to that in a little bit. Then we had up next a gauntlet match. It was Texano versus Chavo Guerrero, Cortez Castro, and Mr. Cisco. That was his name. I forgot it last week when I was doing my review of last week's episode. He was out there, and it was a match last week he was involved in. I couldn't remember his name. It's Cisco, Mr. Cisco. So Cisco was the first guy up at the bat, and you could kind of see where it was going because Chavo was hyping him up and all that kind of stuff. So he got in the ring, bell rang, Texano laid him out with a super kick, and 1, 2, 3, Cisco's done pretty easily. So it's hard to forget him now. Although, well, it'd actually be easier to forget him now because he only lasted like a second, but whatever. Up next was Cortez Castro. They had a good back and forth. Nothing overly special, but I mean, Castro, he held his own. Really good counters and that kind of stuff, but couldn't survive. He ended up getting laid out with a pop-up powerbomb from Texano, and that was the end of him. So now it was Chavo. Chavo got the upper hand at first when he came in from behind, attacked Texano. So he was getting him at first, but eventually Texano came back. Then the finish came. So Cortez Castro and Mr. Cisco, they ain't leave yet, so they're still out there. So Cisco gets up on the well. Let's set this up here. So Texano was about to suplex Chavo because he had him on the outside of the ring. So it was like on the apron outside of the ring. So he's about to suplex him back into the ring. So on the other side of the ring, Cisco got up and he was distracting the referee. And then Castro, he got the Texano's bull rope and wrapped it around his legs, and that knocked him down. And then this is a classic finish, although it's never been used with a rope before. It's usually just holding the guy's feet, but yeah. So Chavo falls on Texano, and the referee counts to 3. Cortez, he had the rope tied. He was holding down his feet with the rope, and that was it. So Chavo and the crew escape, and then Texano chased after them. Usually, and I like seeing that because usually in these situations where the face is in the ring and then the heel like escapes up the ramp or something like that, and they just like stare at each other, like the heel probably up there mocking the babyface or something like that, and the babyface is just standing there frowning and looking all pissed off, but he doesn't do anything, and then they go cut to the next segment or whatever. And I'm always thinking in those situations, like, is there an invisible force field between the two of them? Why doesn't the face just go run after him? Is he immune to running? So it's just a small thing, but I'm glad I saw that here. I was watching this match, and I just started thinking to myself, man, Texano would be pretty good in WWE. WWE, they always looking for that next big Latino star, and Kalisto, he can be that, but he's really more of the Rey Mysterio type guy. Del Rio, I don't know. I mean, he's talented and all, but Del Rio's a lost cause at this point. If they are still looking for, and I know they are, they're looking for big baby faces of all races. They're looking for the next black star, looking for the next Asian star, looking for whatever kind of race they can get. And I know they're still looking for that next big Latino star. And Texano, he's tall, got nice size to him. Damn good wrestler. He's pretty charismatic. He could do good in there, but I don't know if he has a contract with Lucha Underground, or I know he wrestles for AAA and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know if he's exclusive. I don't know if he has the kind of deal with Del Rio, but yeah, I mean, I would love to see him in the WWE. Of course, NXT first, but eventually in WWE. So that was that. Then we went 375 miles outside of Boyle Heights, and we cut to Dario Cueto and Black Lotus. We haven't seen them since the first episode. They were at that warehouse where those guys got eaten by Matanza, and so they were outside. And then Dario shared the story of growing up with his mother, who was abusive and beat him all the time, and then one day his brother took like this object. I'm not sure exactly what the object was, but Dario, he was holding it while he was telling the story. Like, his brother took that object and beat his mother with it and kept hitting her until she would just leave them alone. And Black Lotus was like, oh, that's such a sad story. And Dario was like, no, that's a happy memory because that was the day that I learned I love violence. So, good. I was just glad to see Dario Cueto on the show again. It's been like 4 episodes since we've seen him, so it's like, yeah, it's definitely good to see Dario Cueto and Black Lotus. It's always good to see her too, but more so Dario Cueto because it's Dario Cueto. But yeah, so it was good to see him on the show. Then there was a segment between Pentagon Jr. and Katrina. They were like in a little practice ring or something like that. Well, Katrina was walking by and Pentagon was already in there, and he was talking about how he got humiliated by Prince Puma and he has to be taught a lesson, so he wants a match against Puma. Katrina's like, after what you've done to Mill, why should I do anything for you? And so then we see them have like a little back and forth for a quick second, like a little fighting sequence, and Pentagon gets her in the position to break her arm, so it looks like he's about to do it, but then, the light flickers for a second, and then she's already out of the hold, and then she says, okay, you got your match against Puma next week. And then the light flickers again. She's outside the ring, walking away, and she says, putting your hands on me was the biggest mistake you've ever made. So, I don't know. Those disciples of death, they might rear their ugly heads next week, or at some point. You never know. I'm sure that's what she's referring to. And then we had the main event. It was Johnny Mundo versus Cage. They call him Cage. I still don't, after a year, I still don't know who the hell they are, but they call him Cage. This was a pretty good main event here. Really good back and forth action. A lot of good spots. At one point, Cage had Johnny Mundo. He was kind of like just upside down on the top of the turnbuckle. He was upside down, and he gave him like a super kick and then hit him with an electric chair. So that was a really cool spot. That was a spot that really stood out to me, but I'll go ahead and skip to the end here because the match was good. If you want to see it, go back and watch it. I'm here to review all the main stuff that happened here. But in the end, the referee was distracted by a new woman in Lucha Underground. The name of, was it Taya? Or yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what her name is, Taya. Apparently she's wrestled in Mexico. Okay, I don't know who she is, but she helped Mundo beat Cage because she slid in like a steel pipe, and Mundo just slashed it right over Cage's head, and he was done for. After the match, they attacked him some more. Mundo eventually hit him with the end of the world, and that was it. And then the final segment of the show, it was King Cuerno coming into Katrina's office and saying, Phoenix, he ain't dead. Like the Phoenix just won't die. So you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm cashing this in. I want my title match against Mil Muertes next week, broken arm or not. And she's like, well, we had a deal, and he was like, oh, tough shit, basically. Basically, I don't know exactly what he said, but he basically said, like, tough shit. I was like, oh, well. But then she was like, well, I already booked you in a match next week against Phoenix, and this time, the Gift of the Gods title is on the line. So now he's like, you know what, I have a right to face Mil Muertes. Now she's like, tough shit. Again, I'm paraphrasing here. So then he's on his way to leave, but then she stops him and informs him that the match will be a ladder match. So next week we get Prince Puma and Pentagon Jr. 2, and we get a ladder match between Phoenix and King Cuerno for the Gift of the Gods title. So next week's a stacked show. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to review it next week or not. Along with this being WrestleMania season, my mind's going to be on WWE stuff a lot, but even more so than that, I didn't realize that with my job, March will be a very busy month. So, March is coming up next month, so I'm going to be pretty busy. So, I don't know how many Lucha Underground reviews I'll be putting out in March, but we'll see. I'm still gonna watch. It'll be the most random times. There might be some times where I have to watch, 2 episodes in a row because I missed the previous week. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So might be taking a little bit of a break, but I will still be paying attention to Lucha Underground. So I guess I'll see y'all when I see ya.